It was one of those oddly peaceful mornings in Quahog, the kind that never lasts long in the Griffin household. Peter sat at the kitchen table, in his white shirt and green pants, eating a bowl of cereal shaped like beer bottles, humming the Pawtucket Patriot theme under his breath. Lois moved around the kitchen, with her usual balance of grace and irritation, flipping pancakes while keeping one eye on Peter's face. "Peter, you're not going to be late for work again, are you?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. Peter grinned, mouth full. "Lois, come on. I'm never late. I'm just early for tomorrow." Cut away to Peter standing in front of his boss at the brewery the day before. The boss shouted, "Peter, you're 3 hours late." Peter proudly replied, "No, sir, I'm 9 hours early for tomorrow." The boss blinked. "You're fired." Back in the kitchen, Peter frowned. "Okay, so technically, I'm between opportunities right now." Lois dropped the spatula. "Peter, you got fired again?" Chris, halfway through a sandwich, muttered, "Wow, that's like his third job this month." Meg looked up from her phone. "Fourth, if you count that time he tried his friendship bracelets at funerals." Peter stood dramatically, pounding his chest. "You all just don't understand. I'm an entrepreneur, a visionary, like Elon Musk, but with fewer kids and more cholesterol." Later that afternoon, Peter sat in the Drunken Clam with Quagmire, Cleveland, and Joe. The bar smelled like beer and regret. "So what's your plan this time, Peter?" Cleveland asked, sipping his drink. Peter's eyes sparkled. "Glad you asked, Cleveland. I've decided to start my own business empire. Something that'll make me rich, famous, and maybe even get me that free car wash membership." Quagmire leaned forward. "What kind of business?" Peter smirked. "It's called Rent-A-Guy. You know how people can rent cars, bikes, even scooters? Now they can rent me for anything they want. Parties, lawn mowing, motivational speeches." Joe interrupted. "Peter, you can't even motivate yourself to stand up when your beer's 5 inches away." Peter ignored him. "Think about it, guys. Need a wingman? Rent me. Need someone to pretend to be your ex-husband's new husband at a wedding? Rent me. Need someone to tell your kids Santa's real even though you're broke? Rent me." Cutaway gag. Peter, dressed as Santa, sitting in a child's living room saying, "Ho, ho, ho, little boy. Remember, Santa's real, but your parents' marriage isn't." The child screams. Within a week, Rent-A-Guy became Quahog's newest sensation. Flyers with Peter's face appeared everywhere. He had business cards, a website, barely functioning, and Brian as his reluctant marketing manager. Brian sighed as he typed, "Peter, this isn't a real business model. It's a social disaster waiting to happen." Peter, now wearing a $ chain and sunglasses indoors, said, "That's exactly what they said about Crocs, Brian. And look at them now. Still ugly, but rich." Lois wasn't impressed. "Peter, this isn't sustainable. You can't just rent yourself out for anything." Peter grinned. "Lois, baby, that's what capitalism's all about, doing anything for money." Cutaway gag. Peter standing outside a Walmart, dressed as a giant toothbrush, shouting, "Brush your teeth, or they'll unionize." Things spiraled fast. Within days, Peter had so many Rent-A-Guy gigs that he couldn't keep up. One day, he was hired to give a pep talk to middle schoolers about responsibility and accidentally told them to quit early before life quits you. The next, he was pretending to be a wedding officiant, only to mispronounce the couple's names and marry himself by accident. "Do you, Peter Griffin, take Peter Griffin to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I do, Peter Griffin. Then I pronounce me and me. Totally awesome." Meanwhile, Stewie saw an opportunity. Watching the chaos from his playpen, he smirked. "Ah, yes, Father's Descent into Financial Madness, the perfect cover for my latest experiment." Brian rolled his eyes. "What, another death ray?" Stewie shook his head. "No, Brian, something far more dangerous, a subscription plan." Stewie shook his head. "No, Brian, something far more dangerous, a subscription plan. I'll turn Rent-A-Guy into a global empire. Rent-A-Baby. Every household gets a genetically modified Stewie who can do taxes, make coffee, and judge them silently." Back at the Clam, Peter was bragging about his success. "Guys, I'm practically a businessman now. Look, I even have investors." He pulled out a jar full of Monopoly money. They paid in advance. Back at the Clam, Peter was bragging about his success. "Guys, I'm practically a businessman now. Look, I even have investors." He pulled out a jar full of Monopoly money. "They paid in advance." Joe sighed. "Peter, that's fake money." Peter smirked. "Yeah, but fake money spends better in my imagination." Quagmire chuckled. You're unbelievable, man. What happens when the city finds out? Peter waved his hand. Relax, Quagmire. The government doesn't care what I do. Cut to the next morning. 2 IRS agents at the Griffin door. Lois screamed, Peter, there are men in suits here asking about tax evasion. Peter whispered, tell them I died. The rent-a-guy empire collapsed overnight. Turns out Peter owed thousands in unpaid taxes, had broken a dozen city laws, and accidentally founded a cult of people who thought renting him out was a spiritual calling. As Peter sat on the couch, surrounded by bills, Lois sighed and sat next to him. Peter, you always do this. You start something crazy, it blows up, and we all end up cleaning the mess. Peter looked down. Yeah, but for a second there, I felt like I mattered. Like I was special. Lois softened. Peter, you are special. You just don't have to prove it with insane business ideas. Brian walked by. Yeah, just stick to what you're good at, being the reason we have insurance. Everyone laughed. The episode ended with the family on the couch, the TV playing a cheesy commercial. Need a man who'll ruin your day but make you laugh while doing it? Call Peter Griffin. Rent a guy. Shutting down near you. Cue theme song and fade out.